Hello and welcome to the stream tonight, where we're going to be talking all about the latest Nottingham Forest game, which is going to be Forest versus Burnley tomorrow night, 8 p.m. It's going to be an exciting one over at the City Ground, and looking forward to going and watching that. We're going to be talking on this stream all things preview of that game, Cooper's tactics, potential lineups we could see, some of the new signings playing tomorrow, maybe. And how we think Forest are going to do against Burnley. And Burnley, an opponent that you definitely shouldn't underestimate, but you can't fear, given the quality that we have in our team. And I do strongly believe that Forest do have more quality overall in their team than Burnley do, and definitely possess enough quality in that first team to get the 3 points. But that being said, you need a good team talk, and you need to get out on the pitch and play well, have a good mentality, and then, be ready for a difficult game. So really, for me, it's a must win. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that throughout the stream. We're going to be here till about 7:30, because I know that there's sports events on this evening, and I don't want to interrupt you watching that. But we're going to be doing this for, as I say, probably half an hour, 40 minutes. And we're going to have a lovely friend of mine, Lee, coming on in just a moment's time as well. We'll be talking more about the lineups, I think, and we're going to kind of have a little conversation about that. And whilst I'm here as well, I might as well mention that the latest We'll Follow the Forest podcast, or should I say the first We'll Follow the Forest podcast, is out now. It was out at Wednesday at 3 p.m. If you're wanting to have a quick listen, going on our YouTube channel, literally just click on my profile now and click the episode. So far, lots of feedback. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, we're going to be doing one on Wednesday. I'll be revealing the guest tomorrow afternoon. And we're going to be talking all things from that Burnley game, and looking ahead to future games as well. So then, good evening to you if you're just joining in. 3 minutes in now, 15 of you in at the moment. If you can just like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. It'd really be helpful for the channel. We've got lots of changes coming, as I say, the new podcast, and we're going to be changing the graphics and everything as well for this stream. So lots of changes coming, and we're going to try and do it in like a phased approach. So the channel is evolving, if you will, and there's lots of new and exciting things going on behind the scenes. So Tim, I hope you're doing well. Davey, good to see you on the stream, my friend. Rad Dad, I'm hoping so. I'd love to get a clean sheet if we can, really. Goal difference wise, we're not too bad, but just try and keep it as low as we can, and be good to get the goal difference up as much as we can, I suppose, in our favour. So let's introduce the panel member then, shall we? Because it is, after all, it is a preview for tomorrow's game. So joining me this evening is the man himself, Lee. Lee, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Nice picture in the background there, bit of history. How are you feeling about the game on tomorrow?
I'm optimistic. I want to see a better performance than obviously in the cup. Obviously, we've got to take it into account the changes we made. They also did as well. Last night, I was speaking to a Burnley fan who was so cocksure that they're just going to come to the City Ground, they're going to roll us over and give us a beating. His view was they're on level terms with us in terms of quality. They're just going to basically walk all over us. And I'm hopeful that that's not the case. But for me, I think they're going to get a rude awakening. But the quality we've got, it should be. But at the same time, for some of them, it's going to be their first game. So it depends how quick we gel. But I'm hoping we give them a tonking. I just want to see us smash them to bits. I think they deserve it because they need bringing down a peg or two. They're a bit overhyped, aren't they? Just because they bought the championship and because they got Vincent Kompany. They're just too cocky for their own good. So I don't know why, since they've lost at home so much.
It's personal between Lee and Burnley. It's personal.
It's between me and this fan because he's going to get it if we beat him tomorrow. There's no escape.
So everything's on the line for Lee at the moment. I mean, everything should be put on the line anyway, because you want to be getting 3 points in every Premier League game. And I was looking back at our first few Premier League games last year, and you had obviously the loss to Newcastle, which was expected last year, pretty much. You always knew it was going to be tough, and we beat West Ham at home. So always winning that first home game is nice, like we did at Sheffield United as well this season. But after that, it was pretty pretty bleak. Obviously you got the draw at Everton, and I think that was our last point for like something like 7 or 8 games. So to be in a position where we've won away already, we've got those 2 wins under our belt, and quite narrow losses as well before against 2 good teams, or I say 1 good team, Arsenal. We've done really well, and that's without the new signings added in, or the majority of new signings added in. So you've got to think now, tomorrow, Cooper's going to go in and he's going to have a lot more players to choose from. He's going to have a lot more formations that he can use. The players have had a couple of weeks training or playing their international teams. So it's good to see that you've got Felipe coming back from injury. Probably the main man that everyone's talking about is Sangare. He's going to be coming in, but also the likes of Murillo getting his training in, and Omobamidele, getting used to the first team, and it's really good to see that the more experienced players are giving some of the younger boys a bit of a showing round of what Forest's all about, and maybe getting them ready for some first team football at some point, because Murillo is only young and Omobamidele is only young. But at the same time, they could be very useful soon. So how do you envisage new players being involved tomorrow, Lee? Do you think that there'll be a big involvement, or do you think that Cooper might try and keep it similar to how he did against Chelsea?
I think the 2 new defenders, I think you'll probably see them in a cup. That's just my guess, because obviously, don't forget, you can't dismiss Worrell, you can't dismiss McKenna, Niakate, Bolle, people like that. McKenna, if I haven't said that already. Felipe, you've got all these players, so I think those 2 young lads, they'll get some experience in a cup, in the FA Cup, won't they? So, but I think the key tomorrow is that we've got better quality and we've got a better bench. I think that's something that we can't underestimate. He's got more to choose from, hasn't he, Mr. Cooper? And I think it's positive. I do. I think it's positive. I'd like to see us go at them tomorrow. I don't want to see. We're at home. I don't want to see this low block. We've got plenty of pace. We've got plenty of quality. I know the new players, if they come in, have got a gel. I get that. But I still want us to have a go. Be on the front foot a bit more. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is, right, I was thinking about it the other day, because Steve Cooper has got such a difficult job, as every Premier League manager does. And, it's got maybe a little tiny bit less stressful in regard to resources and the players he's got available now. But on the other side, he's got more pressure on him, because now he's got those players. He hasn't got that protection of, you've not got this player available, you've not got this style of player available to use in a game. So it's really difficult for him now, even more so, because he's got all those players available. So for him, it's going to be a really daunting step, moving away from, as you call it, a low block kind of approach, which he's called it on many occasions. Because
it's not like he hasn't got the men. So now we're going to see what the real Steve Cooper is, because he always said that he wanted to play a different style, didn't he? Throughout last season, even the start of this season. So, okay, it's going to take time, and we need to be a bit patient like that. But now's his chance to start putting it into effect, isn't it?
Because it must be a daunting step for any manager, though, because at the end of the day, it's not like he's got the whole season and the owner said to him, look, whole season, no matter what happens, you're staying, and he hasn't got that kind of security. 3 or 4 bad games and you could be looking at something like that. But I don't think that'll happen. But there's always that pressure. So
are secure in the Premier League other than people like Pep. I don't think there's many. So
that's what makes it so daunting. To switch formations. And I do think that it'll be difficult for him moving out, especially at the back five, and having, choosing that centre back pairing that he wants. And, it's going to be a little bit nerve wracking at first, because he's thinking, okay, well, we always play a back five, and we're a bit more defensively secure with that back five, and you're kind of going a little bit more attacking. So it's what he wants to do, but I can imagine there's probably nerves in it. But, he's got the players at his disposal now. You're against a team where really I think you can afford to make those changes, and you wouldn't see a major impact, or you'd hope not. I'd like to personally see Sangare maybe get some involvement tomorrow, because having watched him, for me, I think so. Because when I've watched him before, and when I went to watch Forest versus PSV at the stadium, and also from watching him in various other games, and obviously highlights, as we all do. But he evades pressure so well. Burnley love to press high. They love to try and force you off the ball, make you panic and make a mistake. But Sangare really thrives in that position and that situation. So for me, I'd like to see him, maybe Mangala, both together, because I just think that when it comes to pressure, they work so well on the ball. And I think against a team like Burnley who like that press, Forest really tactically could completely outdo Burnley, by playing the likes of Sangare and others. Because, as I say, it's about evading that pressure, being calm, and building well on that counter attack. Because you can catch Burnley out by doing that. It's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you've just got to put him in and then it changes everything, because it doesn't. That's not how football works. But at the same time, Burnley, they play an interesting style of football, but it's one that if it goes wrong, can go very, very wrong.
Yeah. What do you think about Dominguez? Well, my team. I've gave you my team, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's the team that's going to play and that's what Steve Cooper will pick. It's just basically what I would like to see, just as a personal preference.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to read out your team now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read out Lee's team. Now, Lee, we've spoken about this earlier in the week, and we've been talking about teams, and I've not actually given mine, but I will give mine in a moment. But first, I'm going to give Lee's. Lee's gone for a 4-5-1 formation. He's gone for Vlachodimos in goal, Montiel on the right, Felipe in the middle, Niakate in the middle, and Tavares on the left. In midfield, it's Sangare, Dominguez, Callum Hudson-Odoi just in front of them, Morgan Gibbs-White and Ilanga, and then Awani up top. So it's interesting. So the changes you're making, should I say the biggest changes, really, because you can count Montiel obviously coming in for Aurier. It's a bold shout. It is a bold shout given Aurier's recent form. So I'm going to give you my honest thinking, and then I'll kind of ask you about it. So Vlachodimos over Turner. Interesting, because for me, I don't think Turner's done anything wrong, but at what point do you introduce Vlachodimos? I think that's the one question. Another one, Montiel over Aurier. At some point, he's got to be introduced. When do you do that? But Aurier's good form. Do you take him out of the team? Tavares getting in over Ola also interesting, because I think Ola has been really good. So if fitness permits him, I'd always have him at left back. Sangare, I can't really question. Dominguez, we've not seen much of him yet, but he's a good player. But I feel like Steve Cooper will start Mangala or Yates next to him if it was going to happen. Callum Hudson-Odoi getting in straight away. I think there's probably a chance of it, maybe. Gibbs-White goes without saying. Ilanga, if he's back from injury, yeah, definitely. And Awani, yes. So, as I say, the people that I'd question then, and I want you to tell me more why you've chose them, Vlachodimos, Montiel, Tavares, and you know what? We'll go for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Why would you put them in?
Oh, because I want to see us go for them. I want to see us not sitting back with the low block. I want to see us attacking, and I believe they're players that can attack and get forward. Tavares, he's known for it, isn't he? He's naturally a wing back, isn't he? So I know it's in a 4, so I know it's a bit different, but I just think at some point you've got to give him a chance, haven't you? Are you playing what we would class as lower opposition? You wouldn't try that against Man City, and I'm not for 1 minute stating that Cooper will even do that. It's just personally what I'd like to see, and I'd just like to see us go for it and tonk them 5-0. And now I know that's probably not realistic. I'm not saying we will at all. It's just what I'd love to see. It's just more of a fantasy team than the squad we've got than what we'll actually do. I just think that attacking threat, just to see us on the front foot. Dominguez is known as a presser, so he'll keep us further up the pitch and press Burnley back. I'd just like to see us attack them, basically. That's my reasoning.
So it's a very attacking team. And one thing I can probably say the most is the Sangare introduction is interesting. And I do think that we'll see him feature, but I don't think it'll be straight away. I can see it maybe in the 60th or 70th minute. For me, I'm going to say my form, what I would go for at the moment. So based off your one.
Before you do, I think Sangare starts. I think Cooper will bang him straight in because Cooper's wanted him, hasn't he, for ages. I just think he bangs him straight in. He's fit. He's the man that makes the difference, isn't he?
Yeah, but potentially. But maybe he's going to see what other midfielders can do and see how they control the game, and then maybe put Sangare and see what kind of impact he has. I think it could go either way, really. It's going to be an interesting one. And so obviously you've got that was your team
Yeah.
that we said a moment ago. I'm going to go for Turner in goal, and I am going to go for a. It's tough because I want to go for a 4-2-3-1 naturally, but I've not seen enough of Hudson-Odoi yet to really go for one, and I just think it'd be a little bit risky at the moment. So I'm going to go for a 5-2-1-2. Okay, getting a bit tactical here. Sorry, I've been playing Football Manager. See, now you're getting me going now. I would like to see in goal Matt Turner, left wing back Ola Aina, left centre back Niakate, in the middle Felipe. Now the next call, I don't know if you're going to like it or not. If I'm going to go for Bolly. I'm going to go Bolly. No, I'm going to go for Bolly, right centre back, and then at right wing back, I'm going to go for Aurier. I'm going to keep him in. The two lower midfielders, I'm going to go for Aurel Mangala and in fact, no, I'm going to go for Ryan Yates and Sangare. This is a team I want to see, not the team I think will feature. I'm going to go, Yates and Sangare for me. Then just in front of them, Morgan Gibbs-White, and then up top, Ilanga and Awoniyi. Ilanga a little bit behind Taiwo, but that's the team that I'd like to see, because at the moment, I know what people are saying regarding Hudson-Odoi, because I believe the hype as well. I do believe he's a really good player. I don't think you can judge him based off playing Harrogate for the under-21s. But at the same time, it's like you're putting him in right wing straight away. You're jumping into that 4-2-3-1, a little bit difficult. I just think he will adapt or change the formation that he usually goes for, and then slowly throughout the game transition into a back four, or having more attackers or anything. But for me, I think Ola Aina gets in again. I thought at Chelsea, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. And I think, I think someone is right here. Aurier could be injured. He's having a scan. We don't know if he's going to be back, but you know what Cooper's like. He probably will.
Know what Cooper, because they could all be injured, and then they're all in, aren't they? You know what Cooper's like. He doesn't give it away. He makes it hard for the opposition on purpose, I think.
You know what? In fact, I'm going to ask you a question then on the topic of Serge Aurier. So we've given our teams, and we've kind of had a little chat about some of the players. Serge Aurier, would you give him a 1-year contract, an extra 1-year contract after this one? And also, everyone in the chat, please let me know. Would you give Serge Aurier another year at Nottingham Forest? Lee, tell me more.
For me, it's not even a discussion, because the guy's been class. All the Tottenham fans poo-pooed it, didn't they, and said, this is what you're going to get. He's been the complete opposite. He's had one or two shaky games, but pretty much 90% of the time he's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's won headers, cross balls in like we saw for the goals. I like Aurier. I think his passion's there. He gives 100% every time he's on the pitch. Yeah, for me it's a no-brainer. Even if he plays second fiddle and we keep Montiel, I think he's brilliant to have around the club. He seems happy, he seems positive, because that also plays a big factor in the dressing room, doesn't it? And I think he's class, to be fair.
Well, let's I think I'm inclined to agree, because the 25-man squad didn't seem like an incredibly difficult one to choose. Strangely enough, it looked like everyone was in there that you'd expect, and then we got rid of Dennis and Shelby. So really good work by the recruitment team all summer. And I think that I think when it comes to these kinds of players like Aurier, who are aging a little bit, you can't look at the age for me of those players, like Felipe as well. You've got to look at the impact that they have. He could be 36, 37. If he's playing this good, you're going to have him in your 25-man squad. It doesn't matter. You look at Thiago Silva at Chelsea. The guy's 39, 40? But he's still, I would say, probably one of their best players, other than when he meets Elanga and Taiwo. So, at the end of the day, Aurier, he'll be 33, I think, or 34 by the time he is he that old? I can't remember now, actually. Sure, it'll be about 32, 33, won't he?
somewhere around there.
So he'd probably be around the 33 kind of age when his contract, if we give him the 1 year, is over. But for me, I just think that he's worked really hard to get where he wants to be. The mentality is perfect for me as well, despite what people said about him being a bit of a nuisance in the dressing room. He's been excellent, and I think actually a lot of players would have played worse for Forest if it wasn't for players like Sergio Aurier, who essentially is like a hype man around the changing rooms. And everybody needs that. Everybody needs someone to motivate them. And I think he does that perfectly. So I'd give him another year. I would give him another year. Looking through the comments now, keep up the good work. Thank you very much. It's always good to see Leon. Yeah, Lee, thank you for joining me this evening. If you've got any questions, please put them down in the chat. I'd love to answer some of your questions, as I say, because we're going to be here for another 15 or so minutes. So get your questions in. Let me know what you guys are thinking at the moment about the Burnley game, about anything like that. Lee's got his microphone there. Look.
The sound was fine. They're having a few issues with the sound. I don't know what it is. It was fine. I hadn't had time to check the settings, but it was okay the other day. So maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I'll be honest.
I'll admit I did send you a cheeky little message on Messenger saying, Lee, your mic's a bit low, but we can hear you enough.
I've seen it.
We can hear you enough. It's all good. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed when the next Media Man budget comes in. We'll get it fixed. I promise. So let's have a look. As I say, some of the comments that are in at the moment. Let's talk about Shelvey and Dennis leaving. Actually, I'm still gutted we never managed to offload Harry Arter, but that's that. But you've got a loan deal for Emmanuel Dennis, which I believe is 100% of his wages covered by Trabzonspor. And then Shelvey's gone to Demirspor in Turkey. So you've got rid of, for me, Dennis was a bit of an odd player for me, really, because he had that, a good game against Newcastle United, scored an absolute, beautiful goal. But really, he just seemed to never pass the ball. And I think actually, and I've said it for so long, I actually think that Emmanuel Dennis would have been our best player if he passed the ball. Better than everyone. And I mean that seriously. I think he would have been better than Gibbs White, better than Awani if he passed the ball, but he doesn't have the right mentality and he's a bit selfish. So, to loan him out was really good business.
Dennis was frustrating because you can see the talents there with Dennis. You can see it. He'd do the hard work, he'd get all the way up the pitch, then he'd try and turn 3 or 4 players when he's already beat the man. He'd cut back inside and try and beat them all again. And that was the frustrating part. He just didn't know when to pass it, which, deep down he's a quality player, but I think the move's good for him. And I was hoping it was permanent, to be honest with you, just for our finances more than anything. And same with Shelvey. I want that guy gone. I never want to see him back at Forest again. Like, go. Don't come back. Stay there. Like, give him away. Like, cut our losses.
Yeah, it was. You know what? At the time, I did think that was a great transfer because I thought of what he could offer us with how he plays, and then I think we don't really play that style of football, and it was just basically just Hollywood balls. That's all it was. It was Hollywood balls, speculative passes,
and it was everyone else's fault. If you looked on the pitch, when he laid the goal against Villa, when he tried to just pass it to Nikati, like then blamed him when he passed the ball so short, not even near him. It was just everyone else's fault but his. It was shocking.
I think Villa away was probably my worst experience as a Forest fan. I'm glad I was working that day. I'm really glad I was working because the away end was a monstrosity. But but when I saw Dennis at the time, I thought, my God, if someone could just tell this man how good he could be and is if he passed that ball more. It was Spurs away. Obviously, we lost 3-1. Ayew missed the penalty. Terrible, terrible day, right? But every single time Dennis got on the ball, on the left wing, he beat every player. Every player you put in front of him. Put in Pedro Porro, you've just got from Lisbon. Put him in front of you. Now he'll get past him. He'll get past everyone. Your best defenders.
That's the problem. He then tries to beat him again and again.
Does too much.
Instead of playing a simple pass.
Even at Leeds away, right, there was glimpses of a very good player working really well with Danilo during that game. And, just the way he got around players, and he can pass, but just he doesn't do it enough. And as I say, some people will just never ever fulfill their full potential simply because the mentality isn't right. But I do believe that loaning him could be a good decision, but he has to change that mentality because I don't know if he realizes just how good of a player he is, but it's so frustrating to watch, as you say, because we know his quality, but does he?
He won't come back into this side again. I can't see it. It'll just be loan until we can either sell him or his contract runs down. Because he won't be good enough. We're aiming higher now, with all due respect to him. We're aiming for more quality. He's not going to get in ahead of Bedoy and Alanga and the other players. It's just not going to happen. He's just better with a fresh start, isn't he, really?
You know what, right? That actually brings me to the next good point then. Players getting into this Forest side, the Forest side, not necessarily just the 25-man squad, but also competition for the first team and even on the bench. So what are your thoughts on competition? Because Steve Cooper spoke about it recently. Competition obviously is what you want. He said that we've pretty much got competition in all areas, which is, again, what he wanted. So now is the time really where you can say we're in a position where we're an established Premier League side, or we're establishing ourselves as a Premier League side. So it's good to have that competition. You've got good midfielders, you've got good strikers, you've got good defenders, you've got very good goalkeepers, and you've still got a quality bench. Whereas last year, there were some players where you say, we lose him, we're finished. At one point, it was a case of you lose Felipe, you lose Bolly, Worrell to some extent in some areas at the end of the season. You lose them, and Forest are in a real predicament. So what are your thoughts on the competition that players have now got in the squad? And also, what are your thoughts on competition as a whole for any football team? It's probably the most important factor, isn't it?
Well, it is, because it gives a player a reason to play for the shirt, doesn't it? If they feel their place is under threat, that's their livelihood. They can be out the door, can't they? Like, for example, Gibbs White didn't have any competition last season. Even, we've got Williams, but you can't say he was much competition for Aurier, really, and that's no disrespect to Williams. I like him, but he's just not the same level. So to have people like Montiel come in, Tavares, I'm on the fence about him. Aina, for example, it's good competition, isn't it? And that midfield's stacked, isn't it? When you look at it, Dominguez, Mangala, Sangare, Yates. I won't even write Yates out because Cooper loves him, and he does a job that not many, if any, do. You know what I mean? So I think it's good. It keeps them all hungry, doesn't it, and wanting their place, because they know now. Whereas before, some were probably quite relaxed and just did enough. Now they've got to stay on their toes, and they've got to do it. If they're not performing, they're going to be out and on the bench, or even worse, out the squad altogether, aren't they? It's like you've got the under 21, some players who's in there all vying to come through as well, haven't you? Like you say, you've got Murillo and on Demabelli, is it? You've got players like them who are going to want to come in within the next couple of years. So it's healthy, isn't it?
It is healthy to an extent, because it's about keeping everyone happy. That's the thing with competition, though. You've got to keep everyone happy. It's a balancing act. And that's what's really, really difficult. But I like the idea of it. And it's it's very exciting just to see that we've got such good level of quality and competition in depth. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of how players do. And it's testament to a player's personality how they come through after being dropped, for example, or having someone go in front of them. Because at the end of the day, you will know which players have the elite mentality and will know what players you want playing for Forest. Because if you're dropped and Sangare's put in your place, let's say you're Ryan Yates and Sangare's put in your place, that doesn't mean that Sangare's got your position forever now. If you perform better than him and train better than him, it doesn't matter how much money he's on a week. It doesn't matter how much we paid for him. It's whoever's going to do best on the day. And that's the most important thing. So,
that's the difference.
I think.
Look at Ryan Yates. He got dropped. Worrell got dropped. And fair play to them. They might not always perform well, but they're always there. They never moan. They get on with it. Look at Shelby. As soon as he was dropped to the bench, he moaned. and that's the difference in character. You know, their heart's in the club, so they will always give it their all regardless, won't they? And they'll bide their time and be patient. You know, it's a good thing.
It is, but as I say, and it will tell you who wants to be at Forest and who doesn't. Because maybe come Christmas,
no, Jay, isn't it? Because a few injuries last season, we were struggling. You know, we got a hell of a lot of injuries. So now it's it was next man up last season, but now it's next man up with a bit of quality.
Yeah,
and that's the difference, isn't it? But they all know from it's a busy season. They're all going to get their shot. You know, Cooper never closes the door, does it? Very rarely.
No, and he gives the opportunities, and obviously Forest as well, quite a younger team, which is really good to see as well. So Cooper's trying to build a team for the future, while also building a team now, which is a really difficult skill to do. But it's important, I think, for a lot of Premier League teams, because our net spend, let's say, over the next 5 years could be considerably lower than a lot of other teams, because of the fact that we've obviously spent a lot now, but a lot of the younger players that we've bought are going to be, first team playing really well, or you sell them on and you get a bit of money for them. So we're going to talk a little bit about how much Forest squad is worth, because there was a new thing out this week saying that Forest squad's worth about £359 million. It's the 10th most valuable in the Premier League. But before I do, a couple of things here. Something about he's unfollowed Forest as Dennis on Instagram. I didn't know that. Shelby will see more cards than a block of casinos. That's funny. But what was
he set up the ball the other day, incidentally. Shelby set up the winner. He's winning now.
Door's back tonight. If you want to, if you want to have a watch after this stream, I think he's on actually at 8 or 9. Door's back on. If you want to go and have a watch, give him all your support. He'll be on tonight, as I say. And also if you're watching this stream, like and subscribe, you Reds. As I say, we're trying to hit 1.5k because since I've come back, obviously I've been trying to be as consistent as I can with YouTube, and we're going to be back on Wednesday with the podcast, and again Sunday night with the stream next week. But I'm looking forward to doing more content and stuff. So if you want to, watch more and you want to keep up to date with my stuff and see the new content that we're bringing out, including some player interviews, got some big news coming soon, then please, get subscribed, keep liking, put that notification bell on, and it'd be great to see some of you back here for the next streams and episodes in the future. But Lee, as I was saying, we were just talking briefly about the most valuable teams in the Prem, and Forest at the moment are 10th in that list. What are your thoughts on that?
I take it with a pinch of salt. A player's worth what someone's willing to pay for him. It's nice to see that we're getting a decent squad together, isn't it, with some value. That's a nice aspect of it. But I saw that, and then I saw Brighton underneath us. Would you say their squad's worth less than us? I mean, based on last season, you'd say no, wouldn't you? But obviously, chops and changes, people are sold, blah, blah, blah. I don't take too much notice of it. It's what they do on the pitch, isn't it, that counts, and what we do as a club. It's nice to have value, of course, but, I'm not that bothered. I look at it for a laugh and wind some Derby fans up, but other than that, it doesn't mean too much to me. Not unless we're going to sell someone, and then I'll say they're worth loads, of course.
Well, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, Forest will just be wanting to, as you say, pick up good results. And Brighton's squad value is probably a lot lower than it should be. And, there's a lot of younger, new signings as well that they've made. So I don't think their price is really old yet. But give it a year, and Chelsea will be trying to buy them all. So, it's interesting to see. It's not a statistic that you often hear about a lot. But it's one that, I think is always interesting to talk about. But the last question I'm going to ask then is, do you think Forest are going to win tomorrow against Burnley?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think we will win. Obviously, you always have that slight doubt, don't you? But no, I don't think Burnley are as good as they sort of hype themselves up to be. You can't even take the cup game into account because it's going to be technically two different sides out there tomorrow. But it'll be interesting to see some new signings, hopefully, and hopefully we smash them. I really want us to smash them. Like, not just beat them like 1-0, like put 5 past them. Let's not mess around. Let's attack and let's just hammer them. Yeah, go on. All that attack.
Lee's ready for it. Lee is absolutely ready for it. The motivator himself is ready. So there you go. Are you feeling the same as Lee? Do you think Forest are going to go out there and absolutely smash it? Let's have a think. I would love a 2-0 win, but I don't give my score prediction before a game because I'm superstitious. So I won't say anything. I'll just say good luck, Burnley. I'll just say good luck, Burnley. Good luck to both teams going out. I'm not saying anything bad about it because I'm superstitious. So again, superstition wins. But thank you all for joining this preview. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, as I say, drop a like, drop a subscribe, keep in contact. I'll be posting things throughout all of the week. So stay in touch. We'll be back Wednesday at 3 p.m. with the latest We All Follow the Forest podcast. And as I say, guest will be announced tomorrow afternoon. So keep your eyes peeled. Follow me on Instagram, JamieMartin_journalist for more. And looking forward to seeing you very soon. And also, I just want to say a big thank you to Iron Wolf. Really means a lot to me for you making that donation. So thank you. Yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing some of you. And perhaps Iron Wolf, you could come and join me for an episode. I'd absolutely love it if you could. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for your support. I'm looking forward to being back. It's been a while. It still feels like I'm not fully back yet, but we're here now. So looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Don't forget it. All on this channel. Get subscribed. And we'll see you all soon. But more importantly, come on, you Reds.